before the Winterslams, before the Zombielands, before there was even a Danny Meltzer, there was a love for action figures and wrestling that couldn't be abandoned. With this love, I would later create something that I honestly never imagined would blow up as much as it did. But that's over now. What is next? Well, how about I sit you guys down and tell you all, well, almost all of the history behind my Fed and everything that led up to this point. It's a long one. Before we can even talk about F.A.W., we gotta acknowledge the fact that it didn't even start off as F.A.W. It was actually just WWE. And before matches were even filmed, all these storylines were just matches I'd have by myself, playing with my toys and such. But now, I've grown up, and instead of throwing my toys around, I take pictures of them. Well, used to, anyway. But enough self-deprecation, let's get to the history of F.A.W, the Pic Fed. The beginning of the Fed stems from me watching Harrison, the greatest Pic Fedder to ever live. And, to be specific, a guest character he introduced. Once I saw this guy's debut, I knew that he was going to be a huge prospect in my fantasy roster. So yeah, I'm a Bane mark. Sue me. Bane was the top heel on my roster, and he was no boring Brock Lesnar suplex machine either. When he had the Universal Championship, he defended it in classics. He was pretty much the Okada of my Fed. He was undefeated, crushing the likes of Kevin Owens, dethroning the king of strong style, Shinsuke Nakamura, destroying Samoa Joe, breaking Shawn Michaels, humiliating Kurt Angle, buried John Cena, and most significant of all, to me at least, Bane beat the demon out of Finn Balor. So you could say Bane was on a Triple H-like reign of terror. But he wasn't the only feared entity in the WWE roster. The Shield, the Hounds of Justice, Rollins, Reigns, and Ambrose were on their own rise to glory, and when Bane saw them dominating everything that they came across, he knew he had to eliminate this threat, and in convincing fashion too. He challenged them to a 1-on-3 handicap match, and when it happened, he fought like a warrior, and just when the Shield thought they were victorious after hitting the triple powerbomb, Bane kicks out and continues to fight. But the numbers game proved too much, and he was beaten for the first time ever. But even though he lost the fight, Bane won something more valuable than just some match. He won the respect of the Shield. And not only that, but their loyalty as well. That's right. Bane was declared the new leader of the Shield, and if you thought he was having a reign of terror before, you would see nothing in it. Because now, Bane had a squadron of the toughest son-of-a-bitches at his disposal, and if anyone even got close to beating him, it was like a 3-minute warning situation all over again. Bane ruled the WWE with an iron fist, and everyone feared him and his Shield, except for when the Bullet Club arrived. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, led by AJ Styles, showed no fear towards Bane or his cronies, and they were as defiant as a bunch of rowdy teenagers. WrestleMania season was coming up, and AJ Styles dared Bane to put the Universal Championship on the line at the main event. Bane accepted, and while the Shield took on Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson on the same card, all eyes were on this blockbuster match. The Phenomenal would challenge the Liberator at WrestleMania for the Universal title. Could AJ Styles do the impossible? Oh yeah, World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk would also defend his belt against Austin Aries with special guest commentator Bruce
This bitch broke as hell, she can't even buy a Krabby Patty. Just fucked a bitch yesterday and bought her a Krabby Patty.